Overwatch, a game that has been out for 4 years. Over the 4 years, it has accumulated over 32 heroes. And through those times, many guides have been released. Now, this is going to be a general tip guide for each and every hero in the game. All the way ranging from supports, tanks, DPS, from all the way from Ana to Zenyatta. With how Overwatch is, you can find many different tips and tricks guides throughout every single channel that has done Overwatch. That is from GM to Masters to Top 500 and many other well-known players. Today, I said I was going to start with supports, work my way to tanks, and all the way to DPS. But I have my friend Helba, aka Rune, from BlizzTrack, who has been a Widow one-trick for the longest time that I've known him. He has given me a few tips that we can give out for Widow players who are starting off. Now, I don't expect these videos to be long or anything, but these are just general tips overall, and it's just going to be me going through and reading off what there is. So the things that he sent to me are tips for Widow. Don't be mad if you miss your shots. Body shots still count, and even if you miss your shot, you can always reposition and find a different location. Body shots are still effective if you can manage to land those, but still, overall, do not be upset that you've missed a shot, as aim isn't everything for Widow. If you do attempt to aim and miss your shots and hit some, a lot of people won't be mad. When you look at it, people would rather have someone hit or try and shoot something every time they take a shot. People do get mad at you if you just sit there and do nothing. But if you always try, you will succeed in any capacity. You force your overall for the enemy team, you force your enemy to play more passive, depending on how your positioning is. With your positioning, it is very crucial where you are. Some of those positions are behind walls, around corners, and peeking ever so slightly to get a interesting pick or do jump shots. Sometimes be wary if they have an enemy Widow to counter you, as things like that can happen. You are the main character that is supposed to control line of sight. LOS is very important, as if you can get your walls up as fast as possible, you have the advantage over the enemy. One of the things that you do have to be wary about is do not peek the enemy Widow when they have their walls up, as they can see where you are constantly and you have to take them by surprise. If they're focusing zoomed in on another character, that's when your moment to strike is. If you miss your shot, go behind something, as they're going to be focusing you. Wait till those walls go off, as there is a sound cue for those to re-peek and then shoot them, but make sure to peek from a different location from where they know that you might peek. Other things that you can do as well is try and control small choke areas from afar, as certain characters currently that are meta, they have a hard time with range. You do have to be worried about dive tanks, as they will be constantly diving on you. Now, one of the things that can definitely save your life against a Widow matchup is if you put your Venom Mine on a door frame, like this one for instance, but it's rarely used. You could place it where your head is, and it can save your entire face in certain locations on maps. As if there's an enemy Widow, you prop it up right in front of you, and they accidentally shoot that, and then you know where they are, and you could shoot them quite easily. Body shot rarely, and just as deadly. or that's what it says in my notes. Body shots are more important than headshots. If you get a headshot, that's good. If you get more body shots, that is still fine. Headshots don't mean everything playing a sniper. The only thing that matters is you hitting your shots. But if you do miss, don't get mad like I've said before. Widow has a lot of advantages that she can do. If a tank dives you like a Winston or a D.Va, make sure to save your grapple so you can grapple away from them, but they're just going to re-dive you if you don't go into your team. It's the exact same thing with Hanzo and Ashe. When they dive you, you could just concussion them away, or you can just lunge yourself away. Overall, it's just a lot of basic sense and knowledge of how you play the game. And on top of that, the three snipers in the game, Ashe, Hanzo, and Widow, they kind of go hand in hand. Ashe and Widow more respectively. This is the first one that I wanted to get out of the bunch because it is one of the most skill-intensive heroes that there is, as if you are one of the deadliest people on the character, you 100% will dominate the match. One of the more famous spots for Widow is right here on this point. Then you can even be a little more aggressive and play up here, or you could be sneaky, and when they're pushing in, you could stand right here, dip out, and grapple back to here, back to the high ground. For the main point, you could stand over here, but you don't really have a good sight line, so right here is a good place to hide. As you can see, you have a good sight line to the door and the window. You can even hold right over here, as you get a small sight line to the main entrance, and a lot of Widow players do hold right here because of the sight line that you have. This is what the control of the sight line is. The LOS is the most important. When you are a Widow and you're on the attack, low ground is not that big of an option, because if you stand here, you manage to pick the Widow, they could always res it. Other places when you're on attack that you could be up on here. A lot of the time you see Widows right over in this area, and both Widows control this high ground depending on which team is winning. Another place that you could go to is you can grapple behind them, but this is very risky, and you can go up these stairs if no one's going to be responding soon and take out whoever's up on the bridge. But that is one of the more riskiest plays there is compared to everywhere else. I've even seen Widows control up here on this two-piece high ground, especially right here, because of the sight line it gives you of that. But overall, Widow is a self-explanatory hero. You just try and aim and hit their body or head if you get lucky, and there are a lot of places that you can do and hide and everything. One of the things you could definitely do is grapple onto this lamp pole, and you have this whole entire sight line that you could shoot through. If you get a headshot, kudos to you. Another grapple spot that Widows can do is grapple off of here, and you go straight up, and you get this huge sight line. Most notable people to watch for Widow are Kefri. Kefri is one of the best Widows in the game, and if you want to learn more tips and tricks, you could watch him, or whenever my friend Helba streams, if he ever streams, you can watch his perspectives on that. Now, I'm going to go into the lovely game and show you guys a few of the spots that you could go to. Overall, Widow's one of those characters that you have to be very careful with. So with
one shot, one kill.
With Widow, I have a lot of time on her, so I know what to do. One of the places is like right here that I said, and one of the niche little spots that people tend to do is go up here, because all right here is a walkable platform, and you get more range on that. And same, and on the other side it doesn't work. Another spot you can go where the Torb turret is, usually it's right up there. And overall, there's just so many spots that you could go to for Widow. Overall, your grapple is your main mobility. If you need to get to a high ground fast, you want to use it as sparingly as possible. Up here is another great place, as you could jump out, shoot, and jump back out. Jump in and out. That's one of her playstyles that there is. Other places that you could be, if they are pushing the point, you're most likely going to be over here, as you have all this range they can put down. Some of the places to put your Venom Mine are places like around certain corners, on staircases, so when you're up here and someone crosses it, you could react faster to that. I will have a link down in the description going to a DPI calculator that has conversions for Widow, Ana, and Ashe. Widow and Ashe are the exact same, while Ana's a little bit less by like, I would say 15. One of the places that you really don't want to hold is right here, because of the reason that you're out in the open and you're an easy pick. Now, for guarding your head, one of the best things to do is you could place your Venom Mine right here, and you could just stand right in front of it. And hopefully you don't get shot to it. Once they shoot, you shoot back. That's the most easiest thing to give. And any lamp on this map is a grapple spot, but make sure you land back down on the high ground. But anyways, Widow is all about self-aware and putting pressure on the enemy to play more passive. But if they're running dive, you have to back away as soon as you can to actually get out and stay alive and still emit that pressure for the enemy to try and take care of you. Since they're going to be diving you, you want to try and be close to your team. Like, all the team's going to be fighting over there. You're going to be up here. But if they dive you, you just grapple back all the way up to this high ground, and you're going to be set, as they're going to have to re-dive it. But you could just easily drop down to your team through the staircase, and that puts them in a small choke. So it's more about creating the space, making people commit to a play to try and get them trapped and killed. But this has been a small tip and tricks guide for Widow. Now, with all this, I want you to see what you guys would like to see in the next video, as these are going to be easier to make, as I thought these were going to be a little harder. But all I just have to do is ask someone and get a lot of tips from them, like my friend Helba, and then I make a video on it going through all my thoughts and how things work. One of the things that you could do as well, before I forget, when you jump, you can instantly get your grapple up, and to cancel out of that, you could jump again, or you can melee. So you could shoot and melee. If a tracer's on you, you locate her, and a headshot with a not even full charge headshot and a melee insta-kills her. But anyways, hopefully you guys did enjoy these small tips and tricks for Widow, and see you guys in the next video.